All right, we replaced a failed French drain system. As you can see, the pipe's not cracked. We actually had to cut it so that we can get it up out of the trench. We just, couldn't keep it all connected. You can see it has only holes on the bottom. Doesn't have holes on the top. Once the holes on the bottom filled with sediment, the system was done. We see this all the time. That's why we preach, do not use a pipe that only has holes on the bottom. You want holes 360 degrees all the way around. And do not use a pipe that has only holes on the bottom, because you have to put 4 inches of stone under it so that the water comes up through the bottom of it. Why is this bad? Well, you're always going to have 4 inches of water under your pipe. That's why it's bad. And if you don't use a filter fabric, now you got mud and stone under your pipe. And this is going to plug your pipe. That's it. You're going to end up with sediment in the pipe, and it's done. So we're going to take you guys along for a ride on a series that we're doing, Back to the Basics. I hope you enjoy it. Stay tuned. When clay dries, it shrinks, and then when it swells up with water, it expands. I don't care what climate you're in or what part of the world you're in. That is a fact. When clay dries, you'll see cracks. You'll see the earth open up when it's shrinking. So that's really having its way on any drainage system. I see a lot of PVC pipe fail in clay that's very elastic, where you have this change. Corrugated pipe withstands all these different elements of abuse, whether it's freeze and thaw, whether it's just the clay shrinking and expanding. In the north, when we're putting a French drain in, we're not below the frost. You got to be 42 inches to get below the frost here in Michigan. And it's code that we put any PVC 42 inches below the frost. We can't do that with French drains. We're draining the water at the surface and the subsurface water in the soil that's just below the surface. We're typically 16, 18 inches deep. So we're not going to be below the frost. So I want corrugated pipe in all those scenarios. But the one thing that I think is the most misunderstood is that PVC is not going to clog, because here we clearly have a system that's clogged. We have holes pointing down. The sediment came up through the pipe, plugged those holes. Now we have no flow. There's no water flowing through this pipe. If it was corrugated, it would have holes 360 degrees all the way around. It could still take in water. During really hard rain events, it'll help flush that sediment out. Now, corrugated pipe, because of its ridges, it'll build up pressure. The pounds per square inch will push through that pipe. It moves shingle, gravel, and debris. This is a really big system. This is a 6-inch system we're replacing. We're going to use our corrugated pipe in the 6-inch to replace it. We're going to set it right on the fabric. This way there's not going to be a bed of stone holding water underneath our system. Iron oak, tree roots, shrub roots are not going to take this system out. When the rain event is over and this pipe is done moving water, we're going to be right at the bottom of the trench. There's just going to be a trace of water in the ribs of that corrugated pipe. Just a trace. That pales in comparison to PVC, where you have 4 inches of stone underneath it, and in all the void of that stone is just holding water. If you cut a trench in clay and you put sand or stone, drainage stone, in the bottom of that trench, it's going to hold water. Clay acts like a bathtub. It acts like a drain basin, a catch basin. It's just holding the water. Now, I've been making videos and posting them on YouTube for 5 years now, so it's not a long time, but one thing that you can bet, there's consistency in our French drains. Corrugated pipe, perforated corrugated pipe, always use a fabric. So a lot of guys want to preach, let's use PVC for a French drain. Well, for me, you're never gonna be able to make an argument. And I'm gonna tell you all the reasons why. This pipe only has holes on the bottom. Now, we're putting in a 6-inch corrugated pipe. It has holes 360 degrees all the way around. If sediment ends up in our pipe and the bottom holes can't flow water, we don't have to sweat it because we have holes 360 degrees all the way around corrugated pipe. You can't do that with PVC. It's too hard. Its own strength is its weakness in this case. If you try to drill holes 360 degrees, that would be a weak point in the pipe. And when the clay dried and shrunk, because that's what it does during the drought season, and the earth opens up and you see the ground crack, it would just break the PVC pipe. It would just break it in many areas if you try to drill holes all the way around it. Corrugated pipe, its flexibility is its strength. When you use a pipe like ours, we're either using the Royal Blue 8 slot that has more inlet than any other pipe in the world. When we're into a 6-inch pipe, you know we're using our premium yellow, the Baughman Gold. We have holes all the way around the pipe. It's going to take water in from the sides and the top as well as the bottom. We can also, when we're using the fabric, lay our pipe right on the fabric. This PVC drain, they didn't believe in fabric. So many contractors don't believe in fabric. Then they think when there's sediment in this pipe, oh, I'm just gonna run a jetter through it and charge the homeowner, and then it's gonna open that pipe up so it flows water again. But I'm telling you right now, that bed of stone that you put your PVC pipe on, it's gonna be full of roots, iron auk, and you're never gonna drain that trench down all the way. Corrugated pipe, even with its ridges and valleys, holds far less water in a French drain application than PVC because of the way you have to install it. PVC has to have 4 inches of stone under it, so you can set those holes on 4 inches of stone. When the water is higher than the 4 inches of stone, it goes up and rises into the pipe from the bottom. That's fine, that's how corrugated pipe's designed too. But what's great when you use the filter fabric like we preach, and 5 years of YouTube videos, one thing you can bet, you can go through our playlist, you're gonna see all the different variations that we use corrugated pipe in a drainage system. I've been doing this for 35 years, and just because somebody's new on the block, beating their chest about PVC pipe, all that means is they're doing a disservice to their client. All that means is in a few years, 5-6 years, they're gonna have enough because of the roots in their system, because they're gonna realize, yeah, I'm running a jetter through it and I'm opening the pipe back up, but it's clogged on the bottom, outside of the pipe, underneath the pipe. So all these myths that corrugated pipe clogs, nothing could be further from the truth. You know, I've given you plenty of examples before. Those ridges build up resistance. That resistance builds up pressure pounds per square inch. When the water comes through, it'll push sediment through. That's why I always say corrugated pipe is self-cleaning. The smoothness of PVC pipe, that's not going to do that. You're not going to have that. So this is what the smoothness in PVC pipe gives you. We're putting in a tri-pack. It's 6-inch. In our 4-inch pipe, we have a Royal Blue with more inlet than any other pipe in the world. It's also the strongest 4-inch pipe. It is the strongest single wall pipe. Now the 6-inch pipe, the yellow, that is a virgin material as well. It has inlets so big that you can drop, 50-cent pieces through the inlets. No kidding. Monster inlets. The guys just ran a tri-pack. I encourage this on big systems. Make sure you're wrapping them and lay your pipe right on the non-woven geotextile filter fabric that's double punched. Again, we buy it punched and then we go ahead and punch it a second time in our shop. We've made the investment to do so because we like to up the flow rating by punching the fabric more. But you can get a really good sense of what a tri-pack 6-inch system is. You can see how small the guys look in comparison to the pipe itself. Monster system. It's a big system to do a big job. This is the Detention Pond. this is literally lakefront property when there's a thunderstorm. Then when downstream catches up, the water subsides, this has to be dried out so the children in this neighborhood can play in this detention area. They mow it, they keep it up, and it's a beautiful park-like, serene location for the residents 99% of the time. There's just that 1% that under flood conditions will this be holding water. So we have to build a system that's going to be able to drain the subsurface water and tighten it up. The faster we evacuate that water after a big rain event, the less likely this ground is to get saturated. That's the key. Keep moving the water, don't let it hang around, and it won't turn this yard or this big common area into a soft, muddy playground for children. All right, everybody, until that next video.